What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. We got two videos today. Some more stuff is coming about this botched dismissal of Brian Bohannon. In fact, I'm just going to take I don't have a need for those. I did want to clarify some things from the last video. Like, I'm not wishing ill on Kennesaw State. It's really like this AD that I wish ill on. Like, this is now becoming like a more national college football news story. Tells you just how awfully this was handled. Just to recap, KSU puts out a statement that Brian Bohannon basically voluntarily stepped down. Brian Bohannon comes out and says, "No, I was fired. I did not voluntarily step down." Then KSU had to come out and be like, "Crap, this looks bad. Yep, we actually did fire him after he went 1-8 this year, even though he had a successful career." But let's get into it. There's actually a really good AJC article I'll link in the description of this video that's titled "In KSU's Botched Dismissal, Brian Bohannon Deserved Far Better," which is a fitting title. Paul Johnson is actually quoted in this. And I think he's absolutely right. Like, I couldn't find it. It wasn't in my comment section. I think someone on Twitter said, like, this is the right move. This AD knows what he's doing, man. He played at Oklahoma and TCU with these legends. Listen, I don't care. That doesn't have anything to do with the kind of AD he is. That's like me being like, well, I went to high school, so I would make a great high school principal. They're two totally different things, man. We already recapped that. Monday afternoon, after a barrage of criticism, the athletic department released a statement from athletic director Milton saying that he had indeed made the decision to fire Bohannon because of the downturn in results over the past 3 seasons. Overton said, in informing Bohannon of his decision, he had offered the coach the option to announce it as a resignation, which is, I would think, always the case, which is preferable for the school. Like, hey, let's not make a scene here. Kind of like you and your girlfriend having an argument over pasta at the restaurant. Let's not make a scene here. That's why you break up with her in public, right? At the conclusion of our meeting, it was my understanding that Coach Bohannon had accepted my offer, Overton's statement read. This is why, taking everything at face value here, if all of that is true, Overton is an awful AD, and Overton's an awful boss, anyone that would ever be in a leadership position. When you are terminating someone, it should be extraordinarily clear that that's what it is. You sit Bohannon down and say, hey, not pleased with the results. We've made a decision to go in a different direction, which is going to lead in your termination. Now, so you are being fired as the coach. We will offer you the option to resign. We'll give you until this date. If not, we'll announce that you've been terminated. There should be no ambiguity as to what is going on. So already we know Overton's an absolute idiot, and it only gets worse from here. The AJC basically states that. Now, this is Paul Johnson. He says they put him in a no-win situation, which is true. If you didn't know, Bohannon was on staff with Paul Johnson. He was the quarterback's coach and I think B-backs coach for Paul. He was actually on staff with him at Georgia Southern Navy and Georgia Tech. Paul continues to say they move up with no budget, no plans, no facilities, and then you expect that you're going to win. So anybody, I mean, especially KSU fans that think this is a good move, it's the worst move you could possibly make. One, they probably weren't ready to move up to the next level without having all that. They don't have facilities. They don't have a plan for moving forward. They don't have the budget. They don't have anywhere near those things. They might have 10% of everything you need to be successful, or not even successful, marginally competitive at the level of play they stepped into. They got like 10% of it. And then the AD wants to fire the coach. I mean, that's like saying, oh, yeah, we're going to build this skyscraper downtown Atlanta. Here's some nails, some steel, and a hammer. Good luck. Oh, it's not built yet? Fire everybody. But maybe problematic, embarrassing are the more meaningful descriptions. The botched operation speaks poorly of Overton and the university. I absolutely agree. In fact, I think this should end in Overton's termination, how this is handled. This is 100% on him. Based on what we're reading, Overton lied to him and or did not communicate clearly what it was. I don't believe that, by the way. I don't believe that he clearly communicated or that it was just a misunderstanding. I think Overton outright lied about this. It's an ineffective leadership and a graceless way to treat an employee whose job performance, commitment to the school, and personal character merited better. They go through, look, from the first season in 2015, the Owls were 63-18 in their first 7 seasons. They had 3 Big South titles, 4 FCS playoff berths. This is not an unsuccessful head coach. And for that level of play, they probably did have the facilities and pay to match. More recently, the winds have slowed. The school announced a move to FBS in October 2022. The Owls were 5-6 that year. They were 3-6 as an FCS independent, though they had 1 possession losses to 2 teams that went to the playoffs and another team in its first year at the FBS level. Bohannon aimed to redshirt as many members as he could because ineligible for the postseason. There was no championship to pursue. So it sounds like he was making decent roster decisions. KSU's now 1-8. They did upset Liberty, though, a team that was vying for a spot in the college football playoffs. So now we're going to talk about, okay, and I'm not getting on to Kennesaw State fans. The vast majority of college football fans, really me included, do not understand what it takes to win at the next level, right? Or to get to the next level that you want to get to. It takes money, it takes facilities, it takes a lot of different things that aren't often talked about. This says perhaps Overton saw the immediate success of other programs making the jump to FBS, James Madison and Jacksonville State, and thought Bohannon ought to be able to do likewise. If that's true, Overton should be fired immediately. If you think you can just, move up and you say, oh, those guys made the move and were successful. They didn't start the programs in 2015, and it's going to lay out. You might want to look at what they have that you don't, before you start lying and firing. JMU boasts a 2-story athletic performance building that has a locker room, equipment room, offices, and meeting rooms for the football teams adjacent to the stadium. Jackson State has its own football complex next to its stadium. Kennesaw State's football headquarters are in an office park with coaches' offices, meeting spaces, a weight room, and a locker room. Players drive to the practice field. I don't know if that's true for Miami. They got to do that for their games, which is about a mile away from the football offices at a separate stadium. So they have piecemealed a football complex together. None of it's connected. Again, this isn't crapping on Kennesaw State. This moron that's your AD needs to understand the decisions he's making, what goes along with it. It has not changed, said Kennesaw State alumnus and former Owl player C.J. Collins, who was a part of the inaugural team. The compensation for coaches is similarly below standards. So what Overton needs to do is you need to go do what Jay Batt's doing at Georgia Tech and go get more funding for your school to get the success that you're looking for, right? That's what you need to do. Not just not do that and expect, we're going to win without it. That's kind of been what Tech's done in the past. Not kind of, that has been what Tech's done in the past. The compensation for USA Today's assistant coach salary database for 2023 has record of 80 assistant coaches in Conference USA, the league that Kennesaw State joined this year. So they're in their first year of Conference USA play. Bohannon doesn't even get to 10 games in the season, right? About 3/4 made $90,000 or more, and just under half made $125,000 or more. According to salary records on open payrolls, a database of public employee salaries, the highest paid assistant coach on Bohannon's staff last year, of the 9 out of 10 whose data was available, made $75,000 a year. It is likely that half or more of the fans that attend the games make more money than any of his assistant coaches do. It's likely that half or more of the people watching this video make more money than that. That's awful. A challenge Bohannon has faced repeatedly in his tenure is losing assistant coaches to higher profile programs, in part because of pay. Again, Overton's problem. This is what Overton's job is. The point is not to ask for pity for Al players or coaches. Yes, driving from locker room to practice field is not the end of the world, but it speaks to the level of commitment that Overton's department is giving to the football program relative to its new competitors. For better or worse, facilities matter in recruiting. You think recruiting, that's the point. All this goes into the kind of athletes you can bring in, and with the landscape of new college football and NIL. Salaries matter in attracting and keeping high quality coaches. Staff matters in preparing and developing. Yeah. And that's the point. Any coach that might be a prospective, to take over Bohannon's job, are you going to want to put up with this? You don't have what you need to win. You don't have the commitment. You don't have the money. You don't have the facilities. And if you don't turn things around in a year, this moron's going to fire your ass. Who in their right mind is going to want to go put up with that? I've seen these places, said Collins, a coach at Cherokee High School. You can see pictures of all these places. It's a stark difference between Kennesaw and everybody else in their conference. We're not talking about Kennesaw and Florida. We're not talking about Kennesaw and even Georgia Tech. We're talking about Kennesaw and the other members of their own conference. It is a stark difference. Again, maybe something the AD can handle. If Kennesaw State offers a low level of support for football, why should Overton have expected Bohannon or any coach who replaces him deliver winning results? Man, the AJC is ripping Overton a new asshole. Bohannon's coaching ability has been made abundantly clear. This would not seem to be a matter of him being over his head in FBS rather than tearing it up and starting over. This same guy says, that's really my issue. If you're going to make that decision, if you think at least need to give him it looks like there's a typo, the chance to prove that he can do it with the necessary supports that all these other programs have. Yeah, he was just held to this ridiculously high standard. This article kind of goes on. I think that's near the end of it. The point being, winning in college football isn't just X's and O's, especially in today's college football. It's not just X's and O's. You can't expect a coach to just go out, we're going to scheme them up. Does he have the players? Do you have the facilities to attract the players? Do you have the money to attract the coaches? The other thing is, I think these other teams had like 30, or 46 or more different assistants and analysts. Bohannon only had like 30. There's not a single metric you wouldn't look at Kennesaw State that they're not markedly underperforming everyone else just in their own conference at. So I hope the best for Brian Bohannon. I hope wherever he goes, I hope he does get a head coaching job somewhere. I hope he tears it up. Hope he wins national top, whatever. Overton, we should start a petition. This guy needs to go. This guy seems like a piece of shit, honestly. Who, if anyone's in over their head, it seems like this Overton guy. Again, this guy on Twitter, he played at Oklahoma. Who cares? He clearly doesn't know what he's doing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Y'all have a good one.